Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine, and it's time for the June 2025 Creative Memories virtual crop from the road in San Antonio. We've arrived at our new home, but we have to be at an Airbnb for a little bit before we get the keys to our actual house. So I am filming without a net, I guess a little bit, if you will. Don't have my usual setup, but I still think I was able to come up with some nice sketch interpretations for all of you. So let's go ahead and check them out. Here it is, sketch number 1. We are going to be working with the Something Blue collection. Here's the close-up of what I'm going to be doing with this sketch. It's kind of sad I didn't have any of my stickers this time, but I feel like I'm making do okay for being on the road. You can grab your screenshot if you would like to. Things are going to look a little different for the next couple months, and then hopefully my stuff will be back. All right. For the sketch, we are using Something Blue, and I am actually on, I don't want to say fumes, but I'm getting lower on it. So that we're going to use this light blue heart page for our main center part of our page. And then I took a couple of strips of vellum, and this is the light blue vellum that has the little, I don't know, diamonds in it with the flowers highlighting each edge. Let me see if I can get that on camera a little bit better for you. There you go. That's the vellum we're using. And we are going to, this is actually a good thing about having the mat this month, is that we're going to be running this through the center of our layout. Now this piece here is 11 inches by 7 inches. I have to figure out where my tape runner is. We're going to go ahead and grab some tape runner and get that going on here. And this is pretty well centered through the center of our page. Now let's remember, this is 7 inches tall. Our vellum is the 11 inches by 2 inches that they did recommend in the sketch. So we have this about a ½ inch up from the bottom. That's going to put us at about, what, 2.5 with putting this, and yeah. So you're right at 2.5 and 9.5 on your mat here. And then we're a ½ inch in from either side of our page. So to get this centered, you kind of want to, you're gonna eyeball it a little bit, but since I'm actually working on the mat, I'm gonna try to be a little more precise this month. It's one of those things with not having my usual setup. I'm making do with what I have, and I'm glad I packed my cutting mat. Okay, so we have 2 pieces of vellum. Now, what I did with these was like I said, these are 11 inch by 2 inch, and then I went ahead and I used my scoring blade on it so it would be easier to fold at the corners. So I know which end is going to go down. I have my vellum tape runner, amazingly enough. Also, you never know when you're going to need your vellum tape runner, even if you're on the road for 3 months. I guess it shouldn't be on the road, maybe between houses. I don't know. That's okay. We'll get our house eventually and get set back up again, but in the meantime, this should work, and I am excited at least to be able to film this. Even if I can't live stream it, at least I can keep going with the virtual crops. Now this gets placed above, so the corners are going to fold down and in, and this is going to essentially be seamless with our designer paper. I am going to grab my multi-purpose tool in a minute to make sure I can burnish my tape runner here. So this is going to fold down here, and this is going to fold down over here. Our bottom one is here. Whoops. I'm winding up moving my paper just a little bit, but hopefully it's okay. Still, I'll fix it here in just a moment. Oh, we're still reasonably straight. Okay, good. As long as I don't run out of this, we'll be okay. I don't know if I have a refill for the vellum. I may have to take advantage of the promo that's going on right now. And you can see where when we're folding these down, you do want to have about 1/2 an inch from the bottom. This one's a little crooked maybe, and you know what, that's okay, because that's how you know it's homemade, right? And you know it's hand done if not every angle is exactly perfect. But I'm going to grab my multi-purpose tool. I'm going to get this burnished a little bit so that way you don't see the tape through the paper a little bit. I'm going to hold it up so you can see. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but I can see the tape through it here. And I'm just going to take my multi-purpose tool and burnish it and get it so it's not super obvious, and also help to refold down our corners a little bit more. And here we go. All right, you can see I also have our pieces of our wispy chain border maker cartridge. I also punched from vellum, and it was whichever vellum was more subtle, because I can't really make out a pattern on that one. But that's what I punched with the wispy chain. And we are going to add a couple of our mats. I did pull 6 of our 4x6 mats from this collection. And going to the chapel is going to be up over here. Kind of under our fold a little bit. So it's a little bit on the vellum, a little bit not. This one is going down here, and this one is going up here. So these you want to fit within your folds, if possible here. Looks like mine's going to go over it ever so slightly. And we do want the vellum, or the paper and the vellum, to be showing just a little bit. So let's flip those over and we'll get them stuck down. Okay. And then I wanted this one up just a little bit, so we might actually cover up this top seam just a little bit. I'll be honest, it is a little crooked, but we don't want to necessarily go over the white cardstock either. And I did use the bright white cardstock for the base of this layout. It just helped everything to pop a little bit. So here we go. We're going to go in about 1/4 of an inch for our mats and get these lined up together. So they are going to run through the page a little bit. Let me move this one up just a hair. So again, it's hitting right at this kind of a 1/4 of an inch. So this linear space here is even, if you will, on your eye. And hopefully that's reasonably straight. I feel like I'm a little ever so slightly crooked, so I'm going to fix that. There we go. And here's number 2. And this is essentially the same spot. I do need to go up just a hair with my going to the chapel. And I'm running it, we have about, it's maybe about a 1/2 inch. It might be just ever so slightly less, maybe closer to 3/8 in between the mats here. Okay. And now we have some of our embellishments from our embellishment pack. I had a lot of embellishments left, so I was actually kind of happy to make use of some of them. We have our Just banner, and we'll be using the Married on the other side because why not? We have our cake, we have our large heart. Now this can be used for our journal box. For this page, we're going to go down here just a little bit. Our love envelope is going to come out from behind here, and our cake will also be behind as well, but I don't want it to interfere too much with where the photos are going to go. We will need to trim down our photos just a little bit, but no foam squares this time, because remember, you're going to write on that unless you want to write on it first before you stick it down, and then you obviously can do that. It's just one of those things where you need to be mindful. If you put layouts together like I do ahead of time before you have your photos done, you do want to make sure that you are being smart and making it easy for yourself later. All right. Okay, I'm just going to press lightly on those. Where did I put my heart? Here it is. Ooh, almost lost it for a moment there. Let me put a little bit of repo around the edges here just to make sure it stays down nicely. And here we go. So a little bit of a cluster in the bottom here. Let me get our Just banner down in the top here. And we still have to get our wispy chain vellum going also here. Almost forgot about that. Actually, I probably should do that one first. Get my vellum tape runner again here. This is one that's a little bit harder to do, but it is good also to use the mat for it because it will work with the vellum tape runner just like it does for the repositionable tape runner. If you didn't know that, now you do. It's a different kind of tape, and I do have a short that talks about these. I'm not sure if I mentioned the burnishing as much in the short, but it's there if you would like to go find that. It is on my channel, or if you leave me a comment and ask me to post a link to it, I will be happy to do that as well. So now this goes across the top here. And of course, you can always get your photos underneath this little vellum border here as well. We've got a little bit of extra tape coming up, so just, you know what, rub your finger across it. It will move and come up kind of like the repositionable, not as easily as the repositionable, but that's part of scrapbooking, is working with what you have. And we all like to work with what we have, right? And it just so happened that I had a little bit more vellum. I believe this was part of a scrap, and it was nice to be able to make use of it with this punch. So I'm going to actually look at my mat here. I have the center of my page here at the 6. So I'm going to go just inside the 5. It's actually, you know what, it's showing the title ever so slightly to the right. So you know what, I'm going to go to the right of the 6. I don't necessarily want to center. We're going to go a little bit off center this time. So between the 3 and the 6 is where it looks like it's hitting. And we will get the right hand side of our page done next. This is the left hand side. And here is the close-up. I hope that shows that little cluster nicely for you all. All right, here we go. And on this side of the page, we are also going to be working on our bright white cardstock again. I have another piece of the heart paper that I cut again at the 11 inches by 7 inches, and I've got these 2 by 7 inch pieces of vellum, or 7 by 2. Okay, hearts are going to go up, so I need to make sure this goes down. Okay. Can you tell it's been a little bit since I've filmed here? I don't know. Y'all will have to drop me a comment. Let me know how your summers are going. It's, you know, one of those things where we just don't always know in life where things are going to take us. And it just so happens that the military has different things in mind for us. We are actually going to be moving again next summer as well. So it's one of the, I'll try to film ahead a little bit like I did last summer, just this past year. And I think that's why mostly I just did the Noteworthy Days, was because it wound up being a lot. Both my kids were heading off to college, and I was taking some classes as well that were really quite interesting, and met other ladies from all around the world, which was so unique, such a wonderful experience, and had some great networking opportunities that you don't get just everywhere. So Pennsylvania turned out to be a very wonderful experience in that regard for me. And I appreciate so many of you for sticking with me and watching my channel, continuing to watch. And I hope you continue to come back, and maybe you'll catch me live streaming again one of these days coming up. Probably, hopefully in September, fingers crossed. We'll see how that works out for me. It'll depend on how my gear survive the trip and if it makes it over from Pennsylvania in time for the worldwide virtual crop that's usually in September. Oh my goodness, I don't know how I would manage doing 12 sketches without my gear, but we'll figure it out. It'll be okay. I think I had to split it up last year. I think I did it in sections of 4, because otherwise 12 sketches would be, it's enough to do, I think, 4 of them in one live stream. I don't know if anybody would want to sit through 12. Although I did do that Serene Waters Fast to Fab album, that was a long one too. That was quite a few sketches also. All right, so you can see it looks pretty much the same as on the other side. This one I did do essentially mimicked the other side in the base part. And then we're going to add 3 more mats, because remember I said we had 6 4x6 mats. So I pulled out the Best Wishes, Remember This Day, and Cheers, because these colors all really flow nicely together. Okay, this is the back side of each of those mats. And we're gonna go ahead and get these stuff down also. So essentially the sketch I'm kind of following, but this right side is the one that mimics more of the sketch, but I did adjust it a little bit up because I wanted to make sure to fit a journal box on this page as well, because sometimes we have a little bit more to say and you want to have the space to say it. This needs to go to the right a little bit, so we have that little bit of designer paper showing in between. And let's see if this placement looks pretty good. I think this one needs to come down just a hair, which means our other one will come down a hair, and finally our vertical one will come down just a little bit too, because again, we want to keep that sight line with that top edge running through the page, at least on each side together. Hopefully the we'll see if how well I did at lining them up across the pages coming up. So remember I said we have our other married part of our embellishment. I do have another wispy chain in the vellum. And I also have a second journal box. So we're going to have plenty of spaces to add our thoughts about this layout on our page. And then I have these two flowers as well, and I'll show you those. They're not really flowers. I guess it's more of a leaf shape. Okay. Let me just go ahead and get some tape runner on all this stuff, and then we'll get these all stuck down and finished up here. And I'm excited. We're going to be done with layout number 1. So this journal box is going down here. We are going to run this leaf one underneath to the right. Oops. And I kind of do want it up a little bit. It's okay if you take your multi-purpose tool later and tuck your photo under there. I think that's actually a great place to put it. This one's going here. So I have maybe 1/8 of an inch between those two, and this one's coming out from the bottom down here. Again, going over our mat just ever so slightly, and I'll show you when I hold it up to the camera so you can see that. Let me go ahead and bring in my other page just a little bit. I don't think I'm going to be completely on camera with it, but I want to get an idea for where I did pretty well with running that just about through. I just wanted to get an idea for how far down I put the wispy chain across the page. It's right around here. So it is a little bit over our mats again, which is fine. And our married now is going to go a little bit more to the left. So it's between the 9 and the 5 here. So again, just is a little bit over offset as well. Married is also going to be just a little bit offset. Let me put that underneath that little bit of vellum because our other R was, and we're done with the right side of the page, and then I'll bring them both in together. Here's the leaves going over the mats just ever so slightly, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. And then usually when we have our photos, those little edges are usually something like sky or grass, or if you have wedding photos, which is what this collection is for, it might be just some background of the event venue where your wedding took place. What do y'all think? How did I do with our first sketch? Here is the layout again, the sketch. You can see it did show the border going across the top, the title up here. So again, like I said, this one's maybe a little bit closer to the sketch than many of the ones I do, but I do always like to keep the essence of these sketches as well. And the second one actually is going to be close to it as well. Maybe just being on the road, I haven't completely lost my mojo. Just wait until we get to the end sketches. I think y'all are gonna, I think number 4 is my favorite this month. Sketch number 2 is this one. And that is what we are going to be doing. We are going to be using the Relax into Summer collection. And really, I was trying to work with what I had packed for myself. I think now that a couple more collections have come out since I've been on the road, I actually was happy that I was able to put the poll back up so that way you all can vote again on which collections you would like to see me using. Here we go. So we have some stickers we're going to be using. We have, let's see, I feel like I'm missing one. It might be with my, oh, no, there it is. Okay. Stickers. There it is. Okay, those 2 lots of little sunshines. We have canary cardstock, and I have the lemon paper where the back side is the leaves. So you really want to make sure with this sketch that you use a designer paper that you like both sides of. And I have to be honest, you have to really think about how you're cutting it, because you can see I have one here that I made a little bit of a mistake on, but I'm gonna go with it and use it anyways. Well, I'll find it. Oh, here it is. This one. You can see where when I was cutting, it's got a little bit away from me on my trimmer. But you know what? It's nothing that a little bit of repositionable tape can't fix. So, bright white cardstock again for the base of this one. I just thought this really helped the yellows and the greens pop a lot. I do want to get my placement down because I really did have to think about the placement on this, and also where which pages, which colors I wanted where, and what I wanted to do here. So instead of doing these 3-4 small mats, I wanted to leave my options open. Surprise, surprise. So I went ahead and just cut one larger mat. So this is the 7" by 7" square for the center. Let me make sure I am doing this the way I wanted to do it. And with these small squares in the corner, I really heavily debated using more of the designer paper, using more of the cardstock. I just couldn't really figure it out. This one was a challenge for me to figure out and get done. Actually, I think I'm gonna put this at the top. That way it's not completely in people's eye line, the one with the little boo-boo on it. And I really wanted the green from the paper next to the yellow to kind of help break up the yellows here, because I love the lemons, I love the green together, but when I tried putting, with some of this, if you look at it, it has this darker here, so these two are supposed to match. So essentially you're supposed to have lemon and lemon, and then up here, and when I did that, I was like, no. So think about how you want your papers to look at the end, and you can do it however you want to do it, but I just really liked it with the colors this way. Go figure, Catherine's a little bit odd about the colors again. All right, now let's see if we can figure out the placement to make sure we don't overlap these too much. I actually think these are gonna have to touch. Yep, and then this is probably gonna have to run either at the edge or, yeah. Okay, it looks like these are gonna run at the edge. So it's an 8" by 2" rectangle. So it makes sense to run it between the 2 and the 10 at the edge of the paper. It doesn't mean I'm gonna have, yeah, you can see I've already got a little bit of white that's gonna show through, because I didn't match up the exact ones with the exact ones, but I think that's okay. And then also when I cut the squares for the corners, I did use my square punch. So my squares in the corners are 1 3/4", not the 2 by 2. Just so you know, I really just wanted to have a little bit of white space showing again. So I think what we're gonna do is go ahead and take these off. I'm gonna go ahead and set these between the 10s and the 2s, and then we'll get them on this page here. Flip this over, flip this over. I'm gonna put a little bit of repositionable on each of the corners for the triangle, and then I'll run some regular tape runner in the other parts of this triangle, and we'll get these stuck down. I am back, and we're going to go ahead and get our small corner squares stuck down next. Come on, tape runner. Here we go. And these are just going to go each in the corners. Center it as best you can. It doesn't have to be exact, but this way you do want to make sure you have about 1/8 of an inch around each edge of your squares. I just thought this really helped everything to pop nicely on the page. You're more than welcome to fill in these corners with a full 2-inch square, but honestly, I've fallen in love with my square punch. And this way it also doesn't make my little separation of space between my triangles look like it's not deliberate. So by having just that little bit of space between here and the little bit of space around here, it helps actually to not highlight my mistakes that I made in cutting my diagonals on my rectangles. So there you go. You can learn from Catherine here. And, you know, it's okay to not be perfect. The idea is to get your photos onto the pages. And, I mean, I like having pretty pages to put my photos on, but we just need to make sure that, you know, we all don't have to be art majors when we're doing it either. I think most of you know that I was a chef, or I am a chef. Still am. I guess we don't really actually lose any of those skills. But I'm going to pop this one up. It's just nice to have those extra options. And I do, I guess, see things a little bit differently. I know I kind of do. I've always been a little bit on the creative end of the spectrum, but can actually come up with what works for you as well. So here is our good times up here. I've got these 2 sunshines. There's a darker sunshine and a lighter sunshine in your sticker pack. We're going to put the darker one to the outside, just underneath our good times, and we'll put the lighter one, oh, well, sorry, right, left. Okay, Catherine. I'm good with color, maybe not with direction, so darker one is on the right towards the edge of the page, lighter one is on the left to the left side of the page here. We also have this sunshine with a face on it that we're going to pop up as well. And I don't know where all my small foam squares went. I probably used them all for something. I do love all the foam squares, but apparently I've used a lot of little ones lately. This one's going down here in this corner. So you still have places to put a couple of large photos on this page, and you know, I don't have any of my photo templates right now. Make sure I get this going the direction I wanted it to be going. This one I'm going to pop up as well. This is going to come through our page here, but I do want to make sure it arcs over where our photos will probably wind up on the page here. So this is going here. And I can put another larger one over here, but I do want a small one in this top part so it doesn't flop when we put it into our album. There we go. Oops. That's not where I wanted that. I do want it up here, going up and through here. So now when I go to put my photo in, I probably should have grabbed my powder tool. So if you have the Creative Memories powder, before you pull off the back of your foam squares, go ahead and dab that one a little bit. You could probably dab this one too, and it'll keep it from having any sticking. And then here, I guess maybe, let me find a mat, hold on. So this is going to give you an idea of what's coming, but that's okay. So here you go. Here's a 4x6 photo here. And then you can also fit one even down here going over some of this, or if you have vertical pictures, you could easily put to here. You could essentially put it here and under here as well. So you can easily fit 2 regular size photos on this page. You can even fit a couple of smaller ones through the center of here. I know that's not what the sketch tells you to do, but if you want to get more photos on this page, I mean, like I said, this has the 3 small ones, and of course you can put your 3 or 4 small photos, cut them down, and have them framed out just like we have these framed out. You could even put a couple of, if you have really tiny photos, you can frame them out on your 1 3/4 inch squares, but you know, I tend to like larger photos, so that's what I work towards a lot. It saves time if you don't have to trim every single photo. Okay, let's get the right side of this page done. Another bright white cardstock, and we have more of our lemons and our green leaf paper here. Let me place them first, because in that way I know I'm going to be putting them in the correct places. And you can see I had another issue here. I don't know, sometimes with the, see, I love our Creative Memories trimmer, but every once in a while you just have to make sure you're, sometimes you have to cut up instead of down, because most of us are right-handed, and I think I tend to cut right-handed. I do a lot of things left-handed, which is why my poor thumb injury is still bugging me. It's better than what it was before we left Pennsylvania, but it's still not healed all the way yet. You know, we all work with what we have, though. Everybody has something, right? We make do. We try not to complain too much about it. It definitely doesn't hurt anywhere near as much as what it did. So I'm happy. I'm reasonably happy here on the road. We're in a Airbnb for a little bit here in San Antonio, where yes, they just had the terrible flooding, and thankfully we are a little bit away from it. We're about a half hour away from it, thankfully. But I truly am feeling for the community. I think I'm going to go do some volunteering this coming week to help out with some of the needs that are arising for those who were affected by the floods. Because what else do I have to do? It's not like I'm unpacking boxes, right? Although I guess I do need to do some more filming for all of you, but it'll get done. It'll get done. I had to order some blank cards because I didn't actually think to pack any cards this time to do our Noteworthy Days monthly video, because you'll see actually it's coming. We have Noteworthy Days this month in our virtual crop, and got to use up all those stickers, because otherwise what are you going to do with them? I mean, I guess you could donate them to a school or a church, school maybe, or something. Give it to your kids or grandkids, but I like the idea of using all those stickers and having a use for them and having a place for them. And, you know, sending cards is one way to use up some of those stickers. So I do know we're going to have at least one card this month, but I had to order some blank cards because I didn't think to pack any somehow. I don't know what was going. Well, we wound up having the movers come, I think almost 5 days ahead of where they were originally scheduled to come, and we had 2 days notice that they were coming early. So to say my packing was a little frantic this year might be an understatement. There's always a lot to sort out, make sure you're ready before the packers come and pack you up. But whew, this year, I mean, I have a ball gown. I've got It was so cold in Pennsylvania. I have jeans. I think I have 4 pairs of jeans and my fleece jacket. It's not something that I need here in San Antonio, that's for sure. So I do have my shorts and t-shirts as well, but it definitely was an interesting move this year. They're all different. They're all interesting, I guess, but this one maybe is a little more special, memorable than even the last couple years. I don't know. Getting caught in flooding last year, so I don't know. Last year was memorable too, we'll put it that way. The year before, I don't know. I'm trying to remember where we moved the year before. Oh, that one was actually reasonably smooth, comparatively speaking, to the last 2 years. So maybe we're due next year to have a nice smooth transition on our next move. We'll see. Okay, so I have all of my 8x2, 8x4. Yeah, all of my these done correctly, at least. Yeah, that was 2 inches by 8 inches. And we're gonna go ahead and again put these squares in the corner. So this one is, again, very mimicking of the sketch. Sometimes I'll mix it up a little bit more. The other one I did reverse some of the map placement to make more sense as a 2-page layout. This one was a little more challenging, and so I went ahead and did this one as essentially not quite the same page twice, but you know, we have a few different embellishments, but it is very similar. So, but one nice thing was I was at a crop recently with one of the designers, Melissa Ullman, and she actually really complimented me on my color choices and told me that it looked great. So I felt good about the decisions I had made putting this together. And the next one especially she really loved. So I'm like, woo, I'm excited about that one. Okay, so we have our Relax in the Summer. Essentially, this is going to be our title for our 2 pages. This one's also going to go up on the foam squares. And again, I'm regretting not grabbing my, so this is this corner. Okay, this needs to go just in a little bit more so I have space. Regretting not grabbing my powder tool. So that's okay. I mean, we did it this way for how long before we had the powder tool, but it's a nice actual thing to have, and it really helps to cement things a bit. All right, I'm gonna put this one up also because we put up our other one, and again, this is gonna swag over the top again here. So I have to remember, not down here, but we need some stability for the top little piece up here. This one's a little bit different than the other one, so let's just go with one of these up here. I think that should work. So sort of swagging over our corner up here. And then I also have 2 little hearts. We're gonna layer these 2 hearts, essentially creating a small cluster. The lighter one is gonna go behind the darker one, and we're just gonna angle these together a bit, but offset ever so slightly. And this is going down here, behind here, coming off our edge. Okay, wow, sketch number 2 is done. Let me hold up the right side so you can see just the slightly different embellishments. And you can see here, again, I had the cutting issue, but it doesn't really, You don't really notice it. We do have a little bit of white showing in between, but I think, like I said, by having this extra little white around, you don't notice the little mistakes in some of the other areas. So let's go ahead and put both pages side by side, and I will bring in the sketch, and y'all can let me know how I did with this one. I always love comments. Y'all let me know. I love hearing from you. I opened up my community tab on my YouTube channel. So if you're on the app, it can only be accessed on the app, and then there will be a button when you go to the main page of my channel, and it'll say visit community, and I would love if you posted something for me there as well. I'm still trying to figure out if y'all can post photos, because if you can, then coming up I might be doing some things with looking at all of your layouts too, which that would be so much fun. All right, so that's that side by side. And you can see originally they had the title and what have you here, but like I said, I like the option of being able to have larger photos. I moved the title down into the corner here, and then by adding these two leaves or swag, I don't know exactly what type of leaves they were. Maybe they're supposed to be type of palm leaf possibly, coming across, that really helps to anchor and define the pages as being a 2-page layout. So I hope you all enjoy that and like it. Let me know. All right, let's move on to layout number 3. Sketch number 3. Here we go. We are using the Noteworthy Days collection. This is the one that Melissa Ullman really loved that I put together, which is kind of, I didn't realize that she designed it when I was sitting near her at the thing, and then she saw it and she's like, oh, it looks great. It's like, oh my goodness, she had designed it. So it was wonderful to hear feedback from one of our Creative Memories designers, and to know she appreciated my color choices on this one. It feels simple, but it's kind of, I don't want to say super complicated, but a little complicated. There are some steps to it. And the main step is where we have these pieces that we cut, and I'm using the brown ends. I have a lot of brown, so there's a beige base on here. I'm using the paper with the beige background with the polka dots. It has the dark blue on the back, and the one that has the navy stripes on the back of it. And I've cut several sizes of these, so let me make sure I get the right size in the right place, because otherwise this is not going to turn out the way we need it to. I have, so for each side there's 1 inch by 4 inch strips. There's 3 of them, and then there's 1 inch by 3.5 inch strips. And then we also have a couple of 4x4 photo mats. I have 2 of them for each side, and then I have, let's see, this is a 4 inch by, I'm sorry, these are 4x6, and then this one is a 3 inch by 4.25 inch. So it's kind of different, and I went ahead and I used my Cyclic Circles border maker cartridge on this. I did essentially just flip it and punch, and when I punched these, I made sure it kind of created a little feature of these X's in the middle, because the paper was, you know, most of our border cartridges are around 2 inches, and since this was a 4 inch piece of paper, you really do kind of have to watch where you're punching. Just a FYI, so you know. But honestly, the one border maker cartridge I really wished I had, mine is packed, from Secret Box number 1, the Dancing Stars border maker cartridge would be the one to use on this layout. And it just was one that completely spoke to me when I was designing it. I asked at the crop to see if anybody had it, because I really wanted to use that one, because there are several star stickers, embellishments that we have in this collection that really would have just cemented this layout in my mind. So if you have it, if you want to create this one, grab your secret box number 1. I do believe it has sold out now. You may be able to still find one, but if you go to my video tab on my channel, I do have the sneak peek of what else was in that box as well. So, and if you buy all secret boxes this year, well, you would have had to have already bought the first 2. The third one should be coming out soon, I think later this month. And I will do another sneak peek on that one too. I just really kind of was always one of those that wanted to see it a little bit before I bought it. But this year, like I said, if you buy all 4 boxes from Creative Memories, you have an option to get a 5th box coming up as well. Now this one's gonna be a little bit offset, and let me double check my notes real quick here. I want to make sure my tab is going to be probably just a little bit up from about, I'll measure that for you all, but you kind of want it centered. I'm running down between this, what, 8.5 and I don't know, it's actually 7.5, I'm sorry, I'm 4.5 roughly is where I'm looking at it on my mat here. So there's about a 1/2 inch in between. There we go. Okay, and then these are going to run underneath. These are the 3.5 inch ones. I'm going to flip them over, and then the 4-inch ones are going to go even with the 4x4 squares. And I did change up the measurements on this one a lot. So, you know, you just kind of have to decide what you think you want to have work for you. But I liked this whole offset look. Let me get my multi-purpose tool. This is going underneath, and you can see where I have enough space to wiggle it in, but and we're going about 1/4 inch under each photo mat here with our little strips here. And then I am centering it as best I can without pulling out my 0 centering ruler. This one's going to be sticking out a little bit because it is a little bit wider than what our mat is on this one, because remember this one was 3 inches. So 3 inches, 3.5 inches, and then these are 4 inches and 3.5. So we've got it, 1/4 inch on the outside part and 1/4 inch on the inside part of each of these. And I feel like I'm a little bit crooked, which I am. There we go. That looks better. Okay, so our 3 mats going there. We have our 2 photo mats, and then we have our 3 4-inch strips here. Put my multi-purpose tool down so I can get some more tape runner going here. And we are going to actually bring these in from the edge a little bit. Actually, what we want to do is we're going to do this kind of, I don't know if I want to say the Catherine way, but we're doing it the Catherine way. We're going to go in the middle first and center this through the 6 with the 1/2 inch on either side, and then we are running it. Actually, it does need to go up just a little bit from the bottom of the page, so I need to fix that. How much up do I want to go? Do I want to go 1/4 or 1/2? Let me see how much leeway this is going to give me. I'm going to go up 1/2. Through here, through the center. So you just kind of have to eyeball it a little bit. And then your mats are going to go on either side of this one. And then you can put your other 2 4x1 inch strips. So here we go. And then that lines up with your 1/2 inch on the edges of the page as well. And it's actually running visually very nicely through the center as well. So left side, we're almost done. We need to add a couple of stickers here. Not many, I don't, you know, it was a unique blend of stickers this month. Put it that way. Let's see. Okay, these are going down here. And this is going over here. Okay. And I don't think we're gonna do foam squares. I just kind of want to run this a little bit at an angle. I think we're actually gonna put this blue star behind our guitar. Maybe so, should we look like it's hanging our guitar? No, we're just put it kind of coming off from the side of our guitar here. How's about that? Well, and there we go. So there's that. Let's get these two down over here, just in this corner, because these actually, they do help visually, help your eye go through the page. But again, like I said, with the circles up here, that also adds some visual appeal to the page as well. And that's it for this side of the page. We are going, it's a little bit minimalist, but like I said, it's really seems to work. It's a fun page. It's a fun page, but like I said, with the stars here, if you had that stars going across up here, I like the circles, don't get me wrong, but here we go with the second side of our page. This is the right side, and again, we have our 4x6 mats where I did punch the circles out of, again, another one of our smaller mats, the 3" by 4 1/4 going across the top of our page here. Let me put these over here so I can get some repositionable tape on them. And then the regular tape runner, and we're gonna have this together kind of quickly again. But again, I did make the effort to try to add that extra little X through the center here to create that extra design with the border maker when I was punching it. So you do need to, you know, sometimes I say cut with purpose. You also need to punch with purpose a little bit too. It doesn't hurt to think about some of these things. All right, so these two definitely go up at the top corners here. There's one. Okay, and then our third one is coming down just a little bit, again, from the top here. So it runs almost kind of through the center of that. What did I say? About a 1/2 inch down and in between the 7 1/2 and the 4 1/2. We'll go with that. It might be a little bit further down on this side, but it's okay, we'll make it work. And now let me get my strips. I have to make sure which strips are the 3 1/2 and which strips are the 4 inch ones here. My 4x4 squares, let's see here. These look like they are my 3 1/2 inch strips, and these are my 4 inch ones. I can measure those against my mats to know for sure. Let's get our 3 1/2 inch by 1 inch strips placed. And remember, about 1/4 of an inch under and 1/4 of an inch on either side is what we're going for. You can tell I knocked my thing again here. Let me push this up just a hair. There we go, a little bit out and under on this one. Just love that it looks like it's sitting on a little shelf. You know, those floating shelves that are kind of popular now. I don't know if they're kind of popular, but they are popular. And I don't know if we've ever had any in any of our houses, but from what I understand, other people do, and you know, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's, you know, it works. How's about that? Okay, now let's get some tape runner on this and we will get this layout finished up. Oh, it's just so much fun. It's been a while since I've done much scrapbooking. I actually was really happy to get these put together and created for the virtual crop for June, so I can be caught up maybe before the July virtual crop comes, and then I'll be, I guess, filming that one again next week because I need to get the printer, which of course mine is packed, so I have to go and make an extra little trip to get them printed out, which of course it doesn't print the same as my printer, but at least we have it printed that I can write on it and show you all what I'm doing with the sketches and the interpretations. And I don't think that the place where I've been printing is open on Sundays. I'm not sure if they're open on Saturday or not either, but I already have several things happening on Saturday. So it'll be coming sooner than what this one did. How's about that? I should have it out well before the next virtual crop, and then I'll also be working on my Noteworthy Days stickers once my order with the cards arrives. Okay, we have a Happy June sticker here, which it works with this layout, so we're gonna put it on. And that's going up here. So it's up above our first moon and stars. We're gonna have maybe about 1/8 of an inch of the cardstock showing above the top. I have a moon here, a crescent moon, and now you can see again why I really wanted the Dancing Stars border maker on this one. I just thought it really would have accentuated these sticker choices for June, because that's part of what was in our sticker pack for June. And since we're trying to use all the stickers, we got to use some of these stars and things. And this like looks like a little atomic, I know it's a flower probably, but it still looks a little, like it reminds me of that, the show, The Big Bang Theory, you know, how they have their little thing. So their little logo just reminds me of that. So this is going down here, and then we're gonna add this green and brown, little or brown star. Make sure I look at my correct notes for which sketch I'm on. I've had to really adjust some of how I do things this month. So it's a little bit different for me not to have my setup, and everything's just a little bit different, which is okay. I don't mind different. It's just making sure I'm following along where I had intended. So here is the right side of our layout. You can see our punches on the top there. Let me bring in the left side of the page as well. I think I showed you this one, but those were the sticker choices. And it's essentially the same page on both sides. Here, let me line this up, because with the using my phone instead of my normal camera, it's a little, angles are different. Like I said, everything is just a little bit different this month. All right, what do you all think of this one? Do you love it as much as Melissa did? You'll have to let me know. Definitely, if you have this border maker and you decide to recreate this page, use that one. I just think it'll really cement the whole thing a little bit better. Not that the cyclic circles don't work, and like I said, I like that I was able to get these little X shapes in the middle that created that extra little accent as well. But there you go, simple, but it is ready for so many photos. And you can even, like I said, well, let me grab that mat again. Now I don't know what I'm gonna do on the last layout when I actually need a mat, but here we go. So this, you can run, you know, maybe I would almost cut down, what is this, an inch off of this, but you can easily put a 5-inch photo framed on either side with this. Your 4x6 is gonna have to hang a little bit lower, so you are gonna probably wanna trim out, again, a little bit from your photos, but you still have options with this one. I mean, you could put a big one through the middle, but then you lose your center piece you cut this in half and do the other. But anyways, wanted to give you all at least a couple of ideas, even though I don't have my photo mats with me. There you go. Sketch number 3 is done. Sketch number 4. For sketch number 4, we are going to use our Revved Up collection. I have this as our sketch, and here is what's going on. I did pull out my custom cutting system circles, so we use the middle circle. Yeah. I think what happened was I cut wrong, but we're going to still use it. The middle circle, this is the inside with the red blade, and then our smallest circle, I did use the red blade both on the outside and the inside. So partially I did not have my templates that I usually have for my custom cutting system. So it was a little bit of a guessing game, but that's okay. It worked out. So on these, we have these 3-inch photo circles. And so this is the smallest one with the red blade, both outside and inside. And we're gonna use this little circle from the inside. On the other side of the page, I'm gonna start with the right side, which is reverse of what I usually do, but you'll see why in a minute, because I wanna show you what I'm doing with the inside of these little donuts. But I figured if we're gonna put a circle on it, or cut our photos onto a circle, it's going to cover up this gap anyways. So we might as well maximize what paper that we have from this collection, right? Why not? So the base, I am using the tire tread. It has the red motorbikes on the back of it. And then I do have my 3 circles cut from this gears paper that has a different kind of tire tread on the back. I think I remember introducing this collection and being, how do you know which one is which? But this one is kind of almost looks more like a V, and the other one is more like this, which matches our mats. So we have 2 mats that have the black, I don't know, the same thing that's on the back of the gear page. We'll put it that way. So we have 2 of those, and then we also have a tire swipe looking one here. And these are going up and down, and this one's going in the middle, but this one is going to go on first because it's going to be the essentially these 2 are going to overlap. These are 4.5 by 6.5 inch mats, and we are using 3 of these on this layout, and they are all on this right side of the page. Let me flip these other 2 so you can see what the back side of them have. It looks like there's reds and rust colored browns. I can tell I've been talking for a little bit longer than what I have been used to talking here. Okay, so we are going to line this up at the, so used to using my 0 centering ruler. What is this, 4.5? So we should be at the 4 and, nope, 3 3/4 and 4 1/4 is what it looks like is our center. So we have 1, 2 1/4, 1, 2 1/4. Yep, I'm so used to using my zero centering ruler. I'm so used to this being the 0 that it took me a minute to get that calculated. And then we're gonna go ahead and place these down. One up in this top corner here. And the other down in this bottom corner here. And then we have our 3 circles that we're going to go ahead and put some tape on as well. We are using the gray side up on our layout. And this one actually is going over these other 2, kind of through the middle. You're just going to want to eyeball center it, I guess, if you will, which kind of lines up with these 2 angles here. So that one's over, but these are going under, and this one is, I did miss an angle here, so this is a good reason for hiding these underneath a little bit. This one is going up in here. And this other one is going a little bit further under because we have our one-of-a-kind sticker that's going to come in on the bottom here, and we don't necessarily want that covering it up too much, but we also know, so we're going to have our photos on these, but they are going to get, you're just going to want to kind of make sure you have, like I said, some background or something that's going to be under the mat a bit, or you can always pop up your photo, have this one under, and pop these 2 up. So even though you have your mat underneath, your photo is up. Visually, it'll be on top of here, if that makes sense. So like it'll be a circle, but up a little bit angled here. So you see, so that's higher than the other thing, and so it works with the layering of the mats a bit, if you will. So you're gonna get a lot of photos on this layout. And let's see here. We have our one-of-a-kind, like I said, coming down in here to this bottom. So I think if I'm gonna pop up photos, I'm gonna put this down. And then I have one of these little cog stickers. Don't forget to punch out the center on it. So you can see here where there's a little circle in the middle as well. So when we have these empty, we're gonna have our little cog emptied too. It's going just right here, kind of moving through the page a little bit. And then I also have these other 2 gears and tires. This one is going to need some help probably getting these pieces out. So just grab your multi-purpose tool and you can see how cool is that. Just run it through here. And remember, again, these are I'm gonna actually put this more, so I'll show you closer, but I'm leaving just an ever so slight gap there. But remember, these are 4.5 by 6.5 mats. So the odds of your photo overlapping that are minimal. And then we have this one that's not as wide. Oh, this is an actual tire. That's interesting. I thought this was more another gear one, but that's okay. It's kind of a gear, I guess. A tire, a gear, it's just not as spiky. I guess it's a different one. It doesn't have the spokes in the center as the other one does. So we've got our gears, our one-of-a-kind, and we have our circles running through our page. And I said I would hold that up so you could see how close I got that to the circles. You can see it's basically just ever so slightly, but not overlapping it at all. Right side of the page is done. How's about that? And then we're gonna do our left side of our page next. And for this one, we are gonna use the same base paper. It is the one with the V looking, and I do have the points going down towards me with the red motorcycle stuff on the back of it. And we have a piece that is so this is all right. This one is again also the gear paper with the interesting other treads on the back. What I did was I punched it first with our Border Maker cartridge. This is the Tire Tracks Border Maker cartridge, so it's one of our edge cartridges. And then what I did was I cut it at 5 3/4 by 12 after I punched it. So you're gonna punch it first and then cut it at 5 3/4. And we are going to grab out our 2 of our 4x6 mats are gonna layer on here. This is going down here, this is going up here. So we have a lot of blacks and whites and grays in this layout. This is going against the edge. I'm gonna flip it real quick so I can get the repositionable tape on our Border Maker end. And then I will put our regular tape runner onto the other part. Okay, here we go. All right. There's that. And the other side of our mats have Custom Ride and Muscle Car. I'm not old, I'm a classic. These are the 4x6 mats. Like I said, we're gonna layer these on our corners here. And this one, so you're not gonna see the gray so much under it. Actually, we are going to give it a 1/4 inch. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So this one we actually are going to give it a 1/4 inch from the edge. So we're going to see a little bit of the gray. Let me make sure I should have enough space for, because we're going to add some stickers also. This one's got a lot going on. This is partially why I did the other side first. There we go, we'll give this a 1/4 inch again. There we go. Okay, so we have this 1/4 inch on the edge here. And I'm trying to get things straightened out here again. Goodness gracious. You can tell I'm definitely not used to working on the mat. So we have these two, again, tire tready looking stickers in our sticker pack. I do want it to be essentially the same direction as what the other one is. Let's put this so the weave goes up. You can see where it's angling. So one direction it has it angling kind of down, and this one has it angling up, and that's what we want. We want to reverse it so that way the arc is kind of going out and up, not down. And let's just run this through the center here. So again, we're giving it about 1/8 inch on either side of our mat and our Border Maker cartridge. And I will show you the sketch again at the end. This is, yep, part actually kind of following the sketch a little bit, but we are definitely going to add more circles in. It was interesting because I was like, wow, they have so many borders running through it, and I just thought, oh yeah, this is kind of cool with the sticker and then the Border Maker running through, because then it gives me space for another larger photo. Although I'm kind of turning it into a journal box, but you could easily not include this and put a whole photo up here, but I just liked how this looked a little bit better. And then remember the circles from the other side, those little centers are coming in here and they're going to run underneath here. So let me get this one down first. And yep, we're gonna give this about 1/4 of an inch above and below it. And it says hot rod on both sides, so you kind of can work with either edge. This one here is one of our 4.5 by 6.5 mats cut in half. This is gonna have, yeah, we're gonna give it maybe a little bit more than 1/4. It's actually 3/8 up here, and then I'll give it 3/8 coming down. So it just kind of looks good, that right there with that little bit of extra. I know this is thin here, but this needed just a little bit more. And it kind of repeats, we have thin here and thicker here. So I'm fine with that. I did get tape on that. We're gonna center this on here as best as we can, layering it in. There we go. And now let's get our stickers and our circles going here. And we are almost done. This one's gonna go down here. And then these 3 are going to be up here going across. There we go. So again, the centers from our circles on the other side. We have 3 more of those little cogs from our sticker pack. Make sure again to punch out that little center circle from them. And these are going to go on here just through the middle. Again, repeating our colors, repeating our elements on our pages, is bringing them together nicely. And then we have accelerate, we have our tires, and we have our road. So our road is going to go down first. This little wavy road sticker is coming in here kind of through our circle a bit. There we go. And then we have our tires that are piled up over here, kind of off from our, actually I'm gonna put it, there we go. So I'm covering up this little spot here. Let me hold that closer for you. You see how there's just a little bit of the circle showing there? I'm gonna cover that up with one of our tires here. And it just is kind of cutting through our road a little bit with the tires, and I think that works nicely. You still have the top of the road coming out. And I did not use foam squares anywhere else, so I'm not going to use it here either. So this one's more of just a kind of a decorative cluster here. You could easily add another circular photo through here, even if you cover up part of your road. Photo here, photo here, photo here. You could put another photo through here, depending on the size of your photos. And this is the right side done. I love this page. Just think it's kind of fun, kind of different. I did veer off the sketch a lot on this right side because basically I wanted you to use 3 chain style border maker cartridges, and I just, again, I wanted to get another larger photo on the page. I wanted to have an opportunity. You can do the 3 smaller photos if you want here, and it would just be kind of through here, and then you would have a black and white look on each one. But however you want to do it, I did keep with the circles, but I also used the larger mats on the other side, and I did not do this strip on that left side of the page, and I didn't do this other color here either. So I veered off the sketch a little bit on this one, but I think it turned out pretty well. Y'all can let me know what you think, which one is your favorite. Again, want me putting in the right side this time. I'm so used to bringing in the left side that here we go. What do you all think? How do you like it together? I think it's fun. So, all right, sketch number 4 is done. Thank you so much for joining me for this June virtual crop. A little late, but you know what? Better late than never, right? I've been doing these for a couple years now, getting every sketch done, and I really enjoy doing them, and I hope you all enjoy joining me for it. Don't forget to vote for the July crop as well. I will see you next time.